My name is Loren Poncia. I'm the owner and operator of Stemple Creek Ranch. I'm a fourth generation rancher here in Tomales, California. My great grandfather immigrated from Garzano, Italy in 1897, and we've been continuously farming or ranching here on the property for 120 plus years. I have a passion for growing food and trying to do it sustainably and regeneratively so we can build more soil. Every single day I'm trying to build more soil and really pay attention to the soil health so that the grass grows really brilliantly and nutritious. The cattle harvest the grass and they turn it into high quality protein. So our number one goal is to do what's best for the animal and to give them as plush of a lifestyle as possible where they have good food, clean water, and they can rest in open spaces. My hopes and dreams for the future are basically that we can build and sustain a regenerative business that my kids would be excited to come back and make a living and thrive here. This is a cool property, or a cool vantage point of the property, because we're at the corner. Like, I'm the corner of the ranch. It goes that way 2 miles and it goes that way 2 miles. It's about 1,000 acres, everything we manage here. And we have about 100 different pastures. We rotate the cattle and the sheep through. And what that does is it allows for the cattle to eat the grass in front of them, stomp on the grass below them, and poop on the grass behind them. And it helps regenerate the soil, create perennial grasses, which we want lots of grasses, forbs, and legumes. Perennial means it lives for more than 1 year. And we want that because basically we're in the photosynthesis business. We want to capture the rays of sun that Mother Nature gives us from the sun, make photosynthesis happen, and feed the roots of the plant, create root exudates, and therefore healthy soil and sequester carbon from the atmosphere and soil. So when we purchased this property about 10 years ago, there was one water source on the whole ranch, and that's that down there. That's the main pond on the ranch. And I tried to figure out how we can actually rotate the cattle around and get them enough water. So we put a solar pump in the pond, and the solar pump pumps to about 15,000 gallons of storage. And then there's 6 new water troughs spread around the ranch strategically so that we can move the cattle or the sheep as we want to. So over there was traditionally never much grass because that's where the cows would drink. And over here on the far side, there was lots of grass because the cattle wouldn't walk all the way over there, eat, and then walk all the way back to the water. So right now we're balancing it around, trying to stimulate more perennial plants to grow. This pasture actually that we're standing in is probably 75-80% perennial plants, which is really awesome. That's high for our area, and it's really high for our property as well. We have other pastures that might only be 10 or 15% perennial plants. So we want perennial plants, we want lots of them, because my dream is to have green grass year-round here, or green forbs, green feed that the animals can eat year-round here. Stemple Creek Ranch is in a Mediterranean climate. That means we have rain half the year and drought half the year. So my goal is to have green grass even in the drought period of the year. In order to do that, we're trying to have lots of diversity in our pastures, and we're trying to increase our organic matter in the soil and increase our carbon in the soil. And this is an interesting thing because carbon is like a sponge. So the more carbon we get in the soil, the less water is going to run off. Right now it takes about 10 inches of rain before we start having water run off of our soils, and we'd like that to increase over the years as we do our carbon farm plan to increase carbon in the soil. So maybe it'll be 12 or 13 or 14 inches of rain before water actually starts running off. That allows us to store more water for the dry time of the year and let roots go down deep into the soil and actually capture that water, get air in the soil, and photosynthesize year-round. As the cattle eat what's in front of them, they stomp on what's below them, and they poop on what's behind them. And this is an example. We won't come back to this pasture for about 150 days, but there's a whole bunch of residual feed here. And if you look at with your camera right here, there's a hoof print. That's basically stomping this into the soil, and it's helping rejuvenate the soil. And then there's cow poop right here that's basically gonna break down, and then you have lots of new seeds and growth coming, like these clovers. This is all good. When the soil warms up, it's actually going to help rejuvenate the soil, and these little pockets are they're not called pugging because they're not super bad. They're not creating permanent damage. They're just basically tilling the soil a little bit, and this time of year it's really easy to do because the soil is wet. Hey, Mace. So we want to drive that into the ground, just as Mother Nature did with great huge herds of bison coming across the Midwest, you know, hundreds of years ago. Basically stomp the organic material into the ground to help create new healthy soil. This is Salty here and Pepper here. They're our guardian dogs here at Stemple Creek Ranch. They've been with me for about 5 years. They're really, really awesome dogs. They're not pets. They live outside with the sheep year round. Whether it's raining, sunny, windy, snowing, these dogs live with the sheep, and their job is to protect them from predators. So they do a good job, and without them we'd probably be out of business and we wouldn't be able to raise high quality lamb for the consumers here in the Bay Area. What a day at Stemple Creek Ranch.